How did the Wizards go from one of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference to now one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference and the NBA? In a span of not even a year, the Wizards somehow were able to transform their team into now possibly a championship caliber team. And honestly, this does seem like an overreaction, I would say, but however, we need to look at the fact that the Washington Wizards are balling out right now. And the crazy thing about it is that Bradley Beal doesn't have to average 30 points per game. He can have an off night and it's not the end of the world for this team. You know that big Russ trade that I talked about yesterday? If you've not seen that video, make sure you do go to it. I talked about Russell Westbrook and his whole situation in LA. You would see the part where I mentioned that the Lakers decided to trade Kuzma, KCP, montrezl, harrell, and while the Lakers are struggling with Russell Westbrook, this Washington Wizards team somehow got really good. Somehow players like Kuzma and Spencer Dinwiddie are some of the best players on that team and are really efficient. The Wizards were not supposed to be this good, but they somehow did just because of one small trade. And because of this trade, this team is now one of the best teams in the league, and I have a couple reasons why. I know I keep bringing up the trade, I keep referring to it. I promise you this whole video is just not me 8 minutes talking about why that trade was so good for the Wizards. But I more or less want to talk about not only their new head coach, but also the depth that this team has, because their depth is insane. And one of the biggest things for the Wizards was them getting Wes Unseld Jr. as their new head coach. And Wes Unseld has a little bit of a history when it comes to coaching. In fact, in 2016, he was assigned to the Denver Nuggets, and one of his goals was basically supposed to be to make them have a better defense, as they were one of the worst teams when it came to defense that year. In just one season, they went from number 28 to number 10 in the league. And even after he left, the Denver Nuggets have always been a top 10 defense ever since 2016. On top of that, Wes Unseld pushes team basketball. He really wants his whole team to be good. He wants other players to get involved, and I love it. He's also worked with Bradley Beal to make sure he gets better defense, because Bradley Beal used to be not that bad of a defender when he first got to Washington, because for a majority of his time in Washington, Bradley Beal was just used as a scorer and his other skills really did not matter. However, now you have Bradley Beal, who is an elite scorer, to now possibly being a lockdown defender. You'll love to see it.
He's just pushing me. He's known me to be a defender when I first got into the league in my first few years. He's seen that I was able to defend, and he hates the fact that my defense kind of slipped the last few years, so he's definitely challenging me in a lot of areas. And granted, we have a lot of guys who are able to help on the offensive end, so it takes a lot of pressure on me on that end. I can definitely exuberate more energy to the defensive side of the ball. I still love the fact that he's very defensive oriented. He's pushing me, pushing everybody to be better defenders collectively, and taking our individual challenges.
So I think it's safe to say that Wes Unseld has at least made a little bit of an impact on this team. So we could also talk about the fact that this team has a lot of good depth. Because of that trade, they got some players like Kuzma, and then you got montrezl coming off the bench, which I think is insane. I thought he was more of a starting center, but that's just my opinion. Spencer Dinwiddie is playing like a true #1 point guard, and I honestly love seeing this. On top of that, you got shooters like David Bertans, who's a pretty good center. Also, don't forget guys like Daniel Galford and rookie Corey Kispert. So yes, when you look at this team, it's not the most name-friendly team. It's not a bunch of superstars or a bunch of players that you probably know, but regardless, these players are getting the job done, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. I think I mentioned this earlier, but I also think that one of the reasons why is because Bradley Beal is someone that you don't need him to drop 30 points a game anymore, just so you guys can at least stay alive. And they don't have another superstar on the team, which is fine, even though a lot of people doubt this team in longevity. And while this might just be a really good streak, there is a lot of people saying that this team will not last past maybe 20 to 30 games. They'll be back to their ways, which in my honest opinion, I don't think is fair, because I'm someone that was like, oh yeah, the Wizards are not that good, because I'm still stuck on they're the Wizards, which is the same mindset that I'm stuck on right now with the Chicago Bulls. The team was not good last year, and all of a sudden they just decided to be really good. Yeah, they made some moves, but regardless, this team is amazing, both of them in fact. So I don't think it's fair to criticize this team and try to say like, oh, in the longevity they're not going to be a good team. Listen, it's not like they've had an easy schedule. They have played difficult teams. They beat Boston twice. They beat them both games. They beat the Hawks. They beat the defending champion Milwaukee Bucks, even the Memphis Grizzlies. So it's not like this team had an easy schedule. Yeah, they're not playing the Warriors and the Nets in the same week or something crazy like that, but regardless, this team is scary. Also, I would like to keep in mind that during this win streak that's been going on, for some part of it, Bradley Beal could not make the game because he was dealing with some loss in his family, so he took some time off. So even when Bradley Beal is not there, this team can still win without their superstar, which for some teams, like for example the Memphis Grizzlies, is virtually impossible. However, I think this type of mindset that they have, like the next man up, or basically like the depth they have and the whole bench they're running, and even the coach's mindset in general to being a defensive minded team, I think it's safe to say that this team is built for a championship, at least with their mindset and stuff like that. Obviously on paper this is not the best team in the league, and I think we can all admit get that, but I think these guys are starting to fill a void right now. Like Kyle Kuzma is damn nearing averaging a double-double per game. And when Kyle Kuzma said he could be just as good as Jason Tatum, we all laughed, and I was one of those people. In fact, I wanted to make a video roasting him on why that will never happen. However, we've seen Jason Tatum right now, and he's not doing that well. Yes, he's having his moments again, but you have to keep doing this consistently, and Kyle Kuzma has been very consistent. And I think it just goes back to show on, if you're on LeBron's team, kind of like in Sports for Context with Tom Brady, he's made some of his receivers really good. Even with Peyton Manning, he made some of his tight ends and receivers and even running backs well known in the league. He's made players be able to get contracts and even build themselves their own little career. However, LeBron James cannot do that. Look at Lonzo, look at Kyle Kuzma, look at Julius Randle, look at Brandon Ingram. All of those guys at one point were on the same team. Like, look what's going on with them all now. Besides Brandon Ingram, who has the potential to be on a really good Western Conference team if Zion Williams could show up for the life of God, every single one of these players are on a winning team right now. Julius Randle, who we all thought was a joke, became an all-star. Lonzo Ball has the potential to be an all-star this year and has improved so much. And look at Kyle Kuzma, look at the same thing that's going on right now. Even look at montrezl Harrell, the man is playing like the 6th man of the year that he was when it came to being on the Clippers. I don't know what it is with LeBron James, but for some reason players cannot develop when he's on his team. I don't even know what it is. And yes, I'm sure I'm wrong. I am sure that there are examples of like, oh, this player, you know, got really good when he played with LeBron, or oh, this player got a career because of a LeBron. But my point is, a lot lately, this little trend that's going on right now at this very moment with about 3 to 4 to maybe even 5 players, that could be missing some people. Shit, even KCP's doing amazing. Like, what the hell? Even Dennis Schroeder, which yes, he's not on the Wizards, but he's on the Celtics right now. So I'm just saying, like, is this a little trend that's going on? Is this normal, or am I just tripping? I'm not saying LeBron James is this terrible teammate or player, whatever, but all I'm saying is that every single time that I've seen lately, as of right now, that when a player leaves the team that they were on with LeBron James, they go to another team and they start dominating like crazy. Now, yes, it is a long season, which is probably something I'm gonna have to keep saying all the way from like December to January, and then maybe in February I can stop saying that. But I like the way the Wizards are looking right now, and I think it is so cool that a team we did not expect to do well and players we did not expect to dominate are doing just that. Obviously, you guys know I'm a Suns fan, but I'm low-key kind of rooting for the Wizards to do kind of well, because like, I don't think we all saw this coming. Who in their right mind said, oh, the Wizards are going to be a top team in the East and have the potential to make a deep run in the playoffs? Nobody. I promise you, nobody thought that at all whatsoever, not even myself. Maybe this team won't end as the 1 seed to end off the regular season, but this team will definitely be a top 4 team if they keep playing like this. Now, with that being said, if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure you do leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, turn on the post notifications. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about the Washington Wizards, and can this team be a top team in the East, or are they just having some luck? Is it a fluke? Whatever. Also, comment your favorite NBA team. I might make a video on them, who knows. I've been talking about a lot of NBA teams right now because this season has been very interesting. So like I said, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, turn on post notifications. I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Take care. Peace.